Okay. Hi, everybody. How are you? We're having a little bit of technical woes as we're waiting for our main presenter to come on in, but we'll just get started with a little round robin of who we are. Would somebody like to take it away? Just introduce themselves.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Rose Alessi. I am well, the title's ambiguous. So, what I actually do is uh, I help with the other team members run our computer labs, computer classrooms, and I have now I have about 60 students who work for me. So that's the gist of my job, is making sure the labs all run work and the classes are all going and the students are learned and empowered.
Very cool.
Okay, that's about like I said, the gist of what I do. Michael, what do you do?
Sure. So my name is Mike Basil. I work in the support services team, and I have a staff of about 60 to 70 students that run a lot of our front end support operation for the campus. So we have a number of walk in service locations. We also support our help desk um, and our field support teams who do desktop support for faculty and staff. And then we have our workbench where devices are brought in for repair either by students or their personal devices or for faculty and staff with university devices as well.
Tara or Lorraine?
I can go. My name is Tara Mazvick, and I work closely with Rich. We have right now, I think we have 15 students who are working for us, and they help support. They actually help support faculty and staff and students, but mostly faculty regarding our LMS, which is our learning management system. And they teach online workshops. So, for example, they will teach like a Python workshop or a Canva workshop, and we basically empower them to learn how to like teach workshops and support faculty and staff.
Lorraine?
Hello. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you. I switched to my headset. So I'm Lorraine Cannavale. I'm a lead technology support specialist for campus residences IT. So we're just I guess a subdivision or a unit within Stony Brook. And we support all the people that work for the resident halls, the pro staff, basically like central administration for the residence housing. And we do a lot of support for student dorm rooms in terms of their network jacks and do they have good Wi-Fi, stuff like that. We get a lot of calls on that. So it's just myself as the professional, and then I have a team of over, I'll say 60 students that help me support all these areas. We also provide computing centers for the students to use on campus. We support a lot of the printers. And basically anything that has anything to do with IT, we roll it out and we support it.
Very cool. My name is Rich Stein. I work in academic technologies, which is a small part of the Division of Information Technology. Overall, we help faculty by supporting all of the academic tools that exist on campus. So that's like our learning management system, Blackboard, soon to be Brightspace, our lecture capture platforms, our in-classroom polling tools. We do a little bit with Zoom, we do a little bit with Qualtrics, we do a little bit with a bunch of other tools. Our group directly oversees anywhere from 15 to about 20 student managers whose role is to directly support faculty and students with those tools. And I'm going to turn it over to Diana because Diana is now here. So hi, Diana, welcome.
Hey, everybody. It's kind of funny that the person that's here is the one that couldn't find the room to go to do her presentation. So anyway, hi, everybody. I know the team has introduced themselves. Welcome. This is Stony Brook's Division of Information Technology team. These are the people that have empowered students on our campus to lead. At one point, when I was a student at Stony Brook and I was part of this team, within 3 years, we had more student employees than full-time professional staff members at Stony Brook. Over the years, we've had up to about 300 students that lead our campus, and this core group right here is the team that has made that happen. So I apologize for being late. I'm glad everybody had an opportunity to introduce themselves. And what I'm going to do now is share our journey with everyone, tell you where we've been, and we have opportunities for those of you that are watching from afar to participate in a few polls. Let's hope this works. I was playing with this morning. So I'm going to share my screen. And you should all be seeing my presentation right now, yes?
Don't see it yet.
Oh, okay, see, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. Do you see my screen now? I'm clicking the share button. How about now? Do you see it now? No.
No.
All right. Well,
Looks like somebody had the same issue earlier in the day.
okay. All right. So we're gonna try something a little bit different. I'm just gonna talk, and I'll tell you our story. And we do have slides to share. I don't know if somebody from here can help me, but that's okay. I can do this without the slides. And so what has happened at Stony Brook is that we are been fortunate to be part of a university that supports experiential learning. So a few years ago, several of us got together. We met with our career centers, and they asked us to be part of a project where we could help demonstrate that students can become leaders. And this brought, again, this career ladder, which we will send out to all participants. If you want to see the career ladder, you can actually go to go.stonybrook.edu/career ladder. I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Got it, Diana.
You got it? Okay. And if you go there, you can see our career ladder. And what we're doing is you can see that we built a program where they start in at level 1 service, level 0. They know nothing. They participate in internship. They participate either for credit or for pay, depending on which area they go to. And then from there, they move up the ladder to something like a student technologist or a field support technician or a help desk position. And then that opens up opportunities for them to perhaps join the networking team. And then the 4th level that exists is the ability to work for information security. So we have a career ladder process in place. There's different qualifications that they need to move their way up. We also have a pay scale that we put in place. So they start at minimum wage with no experience. But then as you go through the internship, you have different experiences. So the purpose of this session is to share what we're doing, how we're doing it. But what I'd like to do first is, since the slide deck isn't working, is I'm going to go to the round robin section and ask you each a question while I try to get the screen share to work. So my question to all of you, to the 5 presenters, is this. You know that what you do requires extra effort on your part, right? We know that you do this because without the students, we wouldn't be successful. But the question is, why do you do it? What have you been rewarded with? What are things that have happened? Conversations you've had with the students, those kinds of experiences. So I'm going to start with Lorraine. Tell us, what do you do with the students? Why do you do these things? You know, because it's extra work. I mean, it must be, right? Like,
Sure, but it is rewarding, as you mentioned. So my why do I empower students is it makes my job easier. So as I had mentioned before, we support all the campus residences. It's over 400 computers. Um, and it's only myself as the professional, and then I have a student staff. So I can't be everywhere at once. So I need to empower students to make certain decisions and work on certain projects to get things done, and also ensure that it follows the same quality standards um, that I would implement myself. Um, the second the second reason why I empower students is they're going through school now, and technology is this ever-changing field, and it's hard to keep on top of everything. And when you're touching so much technology, I find that some students specialize in different things. Some students like to program. Other students like to get more involved in the hardware aspect of technology. Other people like the software aspect. Other students are actually soldering things on boards and trying to fix HDMI ports and stuff like that. It's definitely very interesting. But I will say that we've had a couple of interesting projects that students kind of came up with on their own because they saw a business need to do something, and they kind of used some of their education and their schoolwork, and they kind of made it a win-win. They got some experience and they got to do something that they were passionate about, and then on the business side, it fixed some problems that we had and it made the users happy, and it certainly made my job easier. So some of my students kind of coined some terminology that even after they graduate will stay. So our inventory, computer inventory system is, we use a system called CASE. And there's a lot of several different reports that we could check to make sure all our computers are up and running and have the latest patches. And they kind of consolidated the reports and they made some scripts and they called it mega case. So it's like case on steroids. And it really simplifies the process of making sure our computers are up to date. And this is something that we have to check every day to try to push patches to ensure that all our PCs are in compliance. And then just another quick little thing that my students did is we have this digital signage system called Scala, and it's just a rotating presentation that'll show various slides about the university. Some of it has to do with academics, some of it is a little bit more specific to residences. Um, and typically it's slides meant to for viewing purposes, not so much audio. And there was one time where they implemented an audio file, and um, I guess someone empowered the athletics team, and they were trying to promote their tickets. And it was this little video, and it was like kids were screaming in the lobby of the arena saying, "Get your free tickets, free tickets." Well, this Scala was running 24 hours a day, and they didn't realize some of these things were in right next to where people sleep. So they were kind of complaining that, can we, mute the sound? So one of my students came up with this thing. They had this API interface with our Scala TVs, and they called it Shush Scala. And it was a very cute reference, but again, very effective. So those are my why. Why do I empower students?
thank you, Lorraine. Why don't you pick who gets to talk next about the why?
I'll pick on Basil. I know he's ready.
That's because Lorraine and I go way back. All right. So my why really comes down to why anybody is at a place of higher learning, right? It's because I enjoy teaching. Um, And as anybody who works in education for any amount of time will tell you, sometimes the teachers are the ones who learn the most. And that's certainly true for me over the years with my students. I've had a number of really exceptional students over the years that have completely changed the way I think about how I do my job and how I approach things, and have really changed the way our organization runs. Diana mentioned the career ladder, and for me, the career ladder in our organization goes back to a student named Steve Wong. He was the first student tech that was assigned to me when I started as just a field support tech. I was going out supporting faculty and staff, and he happened to work in a number of different areas. He worked at our help desk, and he was supporting faculty and staff in the field, and he worked at our workbench supporting student personal devices. And then when I had to go and open a walk-in center, I said, "Hey, Steve, you know how to fix stuff. Let's teach these new students how to do that so we can provide this service to the campus community." So fast forward a number of years later, Steve goes off, he graduates, comes back, and now he's working full time as a technician at the university. And he's a student manager alongside me. And we're trying to figure out what to do with this group of students we have, because we have all these sections that aren't really working together within support services, and we need to come up with a way to get everybody working together. We have redundancy issues where people are learning the same skills in silos, or we have coverage problems because only a handful of people can work in a different area. So jokingly, I say to Steve, would it be nice if we just had an army of, you know, 40, 50 of who could just work in all of these areas? And out of that conversation, sort of developed this idea of cross training our students and developing what became a career path for them. So we kind of modeled that off of the path that Steve took accidentally through our organization, and we started to do it purposefully. Um, One of the other exceptional students we had was physics major Abby Bishop. She walks up at the job fair, bubbly, full of energy. I have no idea why she walks up to the IT table, but she comes up, starts asking more about what we do. We bring her in for an interview, does exceptionally well, and she was going to get hired anyway. But about a half an hour after the interview, Lorraine was doing the interviews with me at the time, and the student lead who was working with us each get handwritten, customized thank you letters from this student. And at that point, we kind of realized we were onto something special. So Abby comes in, she starts working her way through this career ladder, and in less than a year, she had climbed her way to the top. And I quickly realized we were running out of things to teach. So I was really pushed at that point to find ways to continue to develop these students that were inevitably going to continue to meet and exceed our expectations. Um, so as Abby became one of our student leaders, I had to figure out ways that we could build leadership workshops and other informational sessions, and we could provide new skills to our students and really push them to grow beyond just the technical and the service skills that we have been teaching them through their career path. So the last student I'll highlight here is a student, Joy Yim, who is actually just a few weeks away from graduation here. She started actually around the same time as Abby did, but she took a much slower, more deliberate path and didn't become a lead until about her junior year. And she ends up staying on for a 3 years master program in occupational therapy. So Joy's with our team for 7 years now, and Joy epitomizes consistency. She has this ability to really simplify ideas in clear and digestible ways, and This has come out tremendously for us in our processes and procedures, particularly when it comes to documentation. So there probably isn't a piece of documentation that we have over the years that Joy hasn't had some hand in formatting or cleaning up or updating as things change. So as our organization has evolved, she's been front and center with both crafting the process and procedure itself, but also in really documenting that in a way that the future generations of students would be able to understand clearly coming in from outside the organization. So this past year, I tasked Joy with leading our leadership development initiative. And as she was preparing for this, she came up with this idea to outline for our students what are the skills, what are the abilities, what are the attributes that we want to see in a student leader in the sports services team. And she drafted this up, was able to share it out with our student team, and then built discussions and workshops around that to really give our students a path. Um, and what this taught me was that the ladder didn't have to stop at the top, and that we could provide that same level of structure and clarity for our students in becoming leaders as we did building them up through just the processes and procedures. So this is really why I do what I do. It's so I can meet exceptional students like this and just learn from them every day.
Thanks, Michael Basil. So so for those that don't know, at Stony Brook we have a lot of Michaels. So we call them by their last name. So Mike, we only call him Michael Basil when he's in trouble. He's not in trouble. But we call him Basil. And now, so before I move the baton over to Rose, at one point in our organization, the computer labs reported through what was known as the academic tech unit. And when we were working on the career ladder and looking at what was happening in other institutions, I realized that support-wise, computer labs belonged as part of the support organization of IT. And so they made a decision to move the computer labs, what we call sync sites, under the CES unit, but academic tech, my team, stayed in CELT. When that happened, I went from being part of with Rose and everybody and having 150 students, I think at the time, to having our own group of students. What I'm going to do first is invite Rose to speak about her experiences, and then we're going to switch it over to the academic tech team so that they can talk about their experiences with the students. And I may interject from time to time. We'll see how this conversation goes. So Rose, take it away. Tell us, why do you do what you do? And just so everybody knows, when Rose had the 150 students, her nickname was Zookeeper. So go ahead, Zookeeper, take it away.
Thank you, Miss Diana. Yes, Diana says our positions have evolved quite a bit over the years, where at one point we were together and then we were not, but we've always continued. We work together. What we do is all what we do is to support the campus community. And for me, I didn't start out with the idea, as Mike was saying, to know we were empowering students. It's something, again, that evolved. When I started out, as Diana said, I started out with 5 computer labs, and I think I had about 60 students. And then it quickly grew to be 15 labs and anywhere between 130 and 150 students. And for a good period of that time, I had only one other staff member working for me. So it was a big load. So we quickly learned that we needed these students. And the other issue is that our labs at one point were open from 7 a.m. in the morning to 2 a.m. at night. And there was a good deal of time when these students worked without us. So we needed to empower them. We needed to give them the resources and the skills And the basic what to do when there's no, full-time staff around. Because basically they were in charge. People, staff, students went up to them and, they relied on them for whatever help or assistance they required. So it quickly we evolved into we knew we had to train them, give them the knowledge and the skills they needed to do this job. So we became, yeah, so we started out we do workshops. We started teaching them workshops, and more and more, each semester we'd add more and more of all the practical things they needed to do. And even that evolved. We eventually started adding customer service into it. And as you all know, when COVID hit, that changed the whole world for everything, because those students ran our sites. There was no staff on campus, but students who lived on campus were willing to come to campus, which wasn't really many, but it was enough to keep our main computer lab and the library areas that we support open. So there was some computer resource available to them live, physically, which for us was a big feat. Along the way, too, in order to make that happen, we realized that there were certain students who had the ability and the desire to do more, to learn more. And so we created an internship, a leadership internship, where we enhanced their skills, taught them, what their skills up to the next level. And it's those students who pretty much ran the labs for us when we were gone, or anytime there's no staff around. We use, like I said, we do workshops. We have our leadership internship. I have, as Mike was saying, with examples, I have 2 students with me who are now graduate students, who I like to call my left and my right hand, because they know this place is almost as well as I do. And sometimes, in some instances, even better. Their input, their expertise from a student point of view is invaluable. I really seriously couldn't do my job without them doing their job as well as they do. But during COVID really took us everything to the next level. It also changed what we do. And as we now have we're back to having 60 students in 5 labs. We've had various approaches to teaching them. Like I said, we teach them their internship. We have in-house workshops for them. They, as you'll hear from Tara, they attend Tara's workshops. We're constantly learning. There's constantly what I like to call a cycle of teaching and learning. When they learn, we teach, and then we learn again from the students who we support. It's just a continuing cycle of teaching and learning, and it works. And some of these students, those who want to do well, really do well. And as Lorraine said, we can't do our jobs without them. We really can't. Like right now, we're home because our computer lab is getting a rehab, and my students are running the job on campus, taking care of business for us. And one of the best, I think my time is almost an end, but just one of the best things that we've done, and we've done it for a lot of years. We used to use what we call it's Adobe Connect, which of course after COVID we went to Zoom. I am connected to my students, for the entire time of the day. So if we're open from 8 a.m., well, I usually cut out about 10 p.m., but I'm online all day, and they know they can reach us. And that's one of the most valuable resources they have. When they can't remember something, I'm online or one of my graduate TAs are online. So no one's ever alone. Everybody always knows. And that's an empowerment to them in itself, because it gives them that self-confidence. If they can't remember where some resource is or how to do something, one of us is there to guide them along the way. And I'm
Thank you, Rose.
Yeah, thanks.
And so you know, I mentioned we were 2 teams were then created, right? So you took one team of 150 students, and then we had these 2 teams. So I was talking to Tara and Rich, and I'm like, all right, so what if we teach students how to help faculty use the academic tools on campus? And while others in the past have reacted to me with, are you crazy? That'll never work. Faculty will never listen. They did it. They found a way to have faculty to empower students to lead faculty. So faculty calls for support, they email, they chat, they send in tickets, and Rich and Tara lead the team of students that support that. So now I'm going to pass the baton to Rich and ask him to share not only his experience, but also what tools we use to provide the support. And then I'm going to ask Tara to share how she empowers students to lead workshops. Rich?
Sure. So one of the nice things that started off, when I first started off in the academic tech team, one of the things that I was helping with Rose, with her student managers, was helping them develop their internal training workshops. So the workshops that the student managers of the sync sites led for the newer employees, whether it was retraining, whether it was new tools that we were bringing in, and that allowed us to kind of branch and start working with the student managers a bit more. Following what all the history that Diana just talked about and the rest of the team has experienced, we started working with an independent team of students concurrently at the same time that we were starting to expand our hours or offer more support hours in a different variety of ways. So not just via phone, but also via email, via ticket. We had a nighttime chat that we used. And one of the things that when Dan and I and Tara were talking about how we were going to allow students to have this role and get them more involved in what we would be doing, on the tech side of it, I started digging through our Blackboard system admin tools to see how we could give students permission to be able to assist faculty, but also be compliant with the FERPA regulation on campus, where undergrad students aren't allowed to have access to grading material and they can't see student contact info and so on and so forth. So we were able to find kind of a happy medium where students can help faculty through some of the most basic questions initially, and then still also be able to provide the level of support that were needed. And large kind of onboarding of new students, we took that opportunity to train and work with the students that worked in our group on how to experience and how to live through Blackboard as an instructor. So right now our group has generally between 15 and 22 students. It depends on the time of the year. Some folks graduate in December, so it really just depends on the type of year. But we have 15 to 22 students. They are generally the first pass or triage on people, faculty and students who call in with trouble with our learning management system or requests with our learning management system and with our lecture capture platform. They can assist faculty in enrolling students. They can assist faculty in deploying quizzes, just about everything. And with a huge asterisk over the Grade Center, everybody knows, Grade Center is no go. It's an immediate bring to a staff member. In our office, even though we're a Google campus and we use the Google Apps tools for just about everything, the one non-Google tool that we use every day in our office is Slack. It's a form of communication for us. So we have some different channels set up to allow the students to kind of always have access to a staff member, whether it's me or Tara or Diana or our other 3 colleagues. In addition to that, we use some remote management tools, things like Bomgar, with remote supports that allows students to be able to connect with faculty and share their screen. We use Zoom in the same fashion when some faculty would prefer to use Zoom. We have quite a bit of training material that we do up front for our new onboarding students. And one of the things that I've really come to appreciate over the last couple of years is the students have developed their own internal wiki page. So it's, common questions that we get asked and quick responses or quick solutions to it. So Diana and I started this a few years ago, where the students had some very minimal level system access to Blackboard and to some of our other academic technology tools. And each year it's sort of iterative, where we are constantly revising the types of things that we're training, the types of things that we're demonstrating, and then we let them sort of lead the way on where they want to develop next. A lot of the students have access to our vendors direct training materials, all of our vendors beta testing programs and such, so they have access to be able to see what's coming and what's coming up in the future. And I'm going to pause for a little while and let Tara talk, because kind of a lot of what we do, Tara and I have been partnered probably for the last 6 years or so. So it's kind of hard to not have overlap. So I want to let Tara share more.
I've been at Stony Brook for a long time. I'm not going to say how long, but I started with Diana and Rose actually hired me, and they onboarded me just a couple of years ago. And when I first started, we were doing workshops for, I'm just going to call them like freshman 101 classes to teach all of the freshmen about technology. And then what happened was there was only 3 of us doing it, and we needed our students to help us teach these workshops. So that was that's how my position kind of evolved, with basically empowering the students to teach workshops. And then it's just evolved over the years where, we'll have a student want to teach like a math lab workshop, or we've had like Photoshop workshops. And then of course with COVID, once COVID hit, we were doing them all in person. And we used to always get so excited about if there was 15 students who came, because remember, the students who come to these workshops, they don't have to come to our workshops. They choose to come to our workshops. So that was always exciting for me, because they are choosing to come to a workshop and learn something new and empower themselves. And it also empowers the students who are teaching the workshops, because they're learning presentation skills, they're learning how to create documentation. And then that all changed when COVID hit, and then we started doing all online workshops. So that was a whole new learning curve. So, but another reason why I love doing what I do is, I keep in touch with a lot of the students who have worked for us or who have worked with us, and to see how successful they are in the future. And they'll contact me on whatever, Facebook, whatever social media. And they thank me for making them go up and do a presentation, or they thank me for all right, yeah, you did pick through my documentation and you tore it apart, but thank you, because that is now part of my job and I'm excelling at it. Also, and seeing their families, Rose and Diana, Jenny, Rachel, just all of them, and having their own families. And it's rewarding, I'm getting teary-eyed. I don't know why.
It's been the best part of my job too, Tara, getting to know them, watching them grow and grow way beyond us.
Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with you.
Yep.
And knowing that we helped a little bit along the way.
So I collected feedback from students that have worked for us, depending on the different groups. And what I'm sharing right now is feedback from the students. So I'm going to just read some of the comments that so these comments came from the internship that Lorraine and Basil ran this semester. I am the faculty sponsor for all Do It internships. So for spring 2022, we had 4 internships. The students receive credit from the Career Center for the internship, and at Stony Brook are what's known as Gen Ed, or called SBCs, and it's the EXP Plus that is towards graduations. So these quotes are from these students. You'll notice that they mention that their supervisors are approachable, make them comfortable. They talk about having gratitude. They share that they influence their careers, skills, interests. They're confident in their professional choices. They like getting to know people. They feel like they have more people on campus to meet. They influences their schools. Do It has helped me build my skill set and gain experience in the working environment. And I realized that being detail-oriented, patient, and polite are important to build on my customer service skills. And all these skills that the students are talking about are part of what our Career Center competency model is building, which we'll send out information about that too. So these students, after completing an internship with us and their jobs, can actually apply at the Career Center to earn digital badges through Credly that highlight their competencies. So everything that this team is doing is supporting these students in this growth. And, Tara was talking, and I found this quote from Sophia, who had worked with us, and I wanted to highlight some pieces of it. So, in this, it's a lot to read, but basically what Sophia is saying is that she never thought, she started as a biology student who just wanted to hand out materials at orientation. And then Tara asked her if she'd be interested in teaching Excel. And she's like, "You're talking to me? Like, I'm a biology major. What do you mean I can teach Excel?" And Tara encouraged her. And so she started to teach Excel. And then she showed an interest in graphic design. And she developed her graphic design skills. And then she started making banners that were posted in our Blackboard site. And Sophia's thank you note to us, she talks about the different members of the team and academic tech that have helped her. But I've seen these thank you notes happening to other staff too. And Basil mentioned that the handwritten thank you notes from that. So the students are developing competencies that they won't get in the classroom. And it's making them marketable. And what's nice about this, and what I've heard everybody say, is then they send that thank you note later, right? Or they realize that, like, in the moment, they're like, "You're going to make me do what? You want me to teach a workshop? I can't do that," but they can. And, I always say we everybody's been through COVID. Our teams, like the students, had it not been for them, we would have never been able to move. We think our number in the end was 4,000 classes online in the spring of 2020. So the amount of work that this took from the students, but also the dedication from the staff, is truly remarkable. So we wanted to share our experiences with all of you. We do want to hear about your experience. So I need you to bear with me because I'm trying to get to the slide where I ask people to share their experiences about working with students. So just give me 1 second. We're testing out a new tool that I learned about last night. It is called Menti.com. So if you can see this, if you go to and use code 9804-5674, there are 2 questions that you will see. And as everybody is answering, we should, in theory, see results on this page. I don't know if this is going to work. But being part of the teaching learning community, we like to explore, we like to try things. If everybody could please try to use that. Like I said, I don't know if that's going to work. But that's an important part, is feedback and learning and hearing each other's experiences. So at this point, I'd love to hear what other schools are doing. If you have questions for us, we're happy to answer. or if there's something that we didn't cover that you were expecting to ask or want us to let us know, please. Rich is asking me to put the so the result, it is working. I just have to figure out how to share with all of you through the chat. Oh, here we go. Okay.
So some of what we're seeing are things like
Yeah.
programming, answering phones, helping with tickets, doing help desk support, taking notes for staff. Looks like some folks are still answering the second question.
Okay, everybody should be able to now see. Yeah, cool. Now everybody can see it. So reset passwords, programming. So, some of the things that when we were talking to the Career Center, and we actually were featured in their book called The Good Job. I do have a link for everybody for that too. They talked about Bloom's taxonomy and the things that students are learning when you empower them, like we have. And what they're trying to do is get people out of the mindset of that students can only file papers or that they can only take a message. And how do you make it that they can be involved? And what it takes is a team of people that empowers the students, but they're motivated and there are a lot of them that they understand the competencies that they are learning, and they're really, really excited to be part of that. So we do encourage you to consider, if you're not already using helping students empower them. We have materials we're happy to share. We're happy to share our story. I'm going to send out this presentation, a link to it so that you can all have access to it. But then the other question that I posted was, how do you support your student employees? What is your development program? So it's the same site, but if you click the arrow to the left, it'll move you to where you'll see the question, and then you can answer that question there too. So the question is, how do you support your student employees? What is your development program like? And if you don't have one, it's okay to say you don't have one. I do encourage everybody to talk to the career centers on your campus. They're great partners, and consider look at internship opportunities for your campus. One of the issues that we have at Stony Brook is that computer science does not see the Do It internship as part of the computer science program because it is abstract. It's not practical. So that's why it's run through the Career Center, the internship that we run, because it's more practical competencies that our Career Center is trying to capture. So, we are here to hear from you, and we want to also share if you have other things for us, please feel free.
And just to add into that, it's not just computer science or info tech or engineering students that come and work in the IT units on campus. A lot of the students that have been super successful with our groups are coming from the social and behavioral sciences or from humanities, because the role that we perform is not just about moving the mouse or programming something. A lot of the role that we have, especially in anybody who knows faculty support, a lot of our role is in just calming down an upset faculty member, or rephrasing some technical help material into a way that's a little bit more user friendly, or even just kind of being the hurrah coach on the phone to help the faculty member who doesn't maybe remember how to deploy a test in Blackboard, or So a lot of that comes from when the students are able to talk with faculty and they're an assuring voice on the phone, but they also are knowledgeable on how to do even level 0 and level 1 type support. That has been very helpful for us. And we've had a few students over the last couple of years who are known by faculty as oh, you're that awesome student tech, and like they remember them for years. We had a student who graduated from our group 2 years ago, and every time this one particular faculty member calls, she always asks, oh, is he around? Because I really wanted some help, and he was awesome on the phone, and I stopped by the office, and they didn't know who he was, and I said, yeah, he graduated 2 years ago. He's now in medical school. But that
yeah, a lot of our students are they're teachers, they're nurses, it's just not computer science. Of course they're going into like technology also, but I mean like Bethany, she's a math teacher in Virginia.
We have a neuroscience student who just graduated, and she's a surgeon.
Yeah.
A lawyer.
Yes,
we have students
yeah.
that come, yeah. We have students that come from, like you said, all majors.
Yeah.
And just to what Diana said is, if anybody is in doubt about students' ability, don't be. That's one of the things that I have learned over the year and been over the years and part of my evolution. There are many students, most of them, who want to learn, who want to be, who want that position, who, as Tara said, they like to lead. They like to learn things. They like to teach things.
And the best is when they stay with us, like they're an undergraduate student, and then they decide to go to graduate school here, and then you have them for like 5 years. That's the best.
Yeah. And peer-to-peer teaching to me has worked the best over the years. They don't want to listen to some old lady saying stuff to them. But when my student leaders teach them, they listen. They ask questions. There's feedback. I don't get these staring faces at me. They're looking to be empowered. And the best thing, like Tara says, especially the ones we know, when they come back, and so many of them will come back and say that they didn't get it while they were here, but they're so grateful for the things we taught them because now they understand why we did what we did. It's just like your children, when they grow, they learn too. And that's so satisfying.
Yeah. So, when we were talking at the Career Center, and this is the book, it's called A Good Job. They did this analysis. They talked to our students and they said, what were your takeaways? What have you learned? And then they took that and they translated into Bloom's language. So, they identified that students have learned how to remember facts. They understand concepts. They may not be the information security experts, but they can talk about it and they can explain why you need to log out of your workstation or why your password needs to be 15 characters, and confidentiality, and applying concepts to address hardware issues, create a technical document, analyze concepts, and recognize and reorganize them to diagnose and fix challenging computer problems. They get to evaluate your software packages to determine which could be the best purchase. And they even work with vendors on our campus to tell them how they can make their product better. So every once in a while, I'll put together a team. We call it Team Break It. It's a joke, Break IT. And we bring these students together and we have them meet with vendors and say, actually, this is how you can, this is what we need you to do. And I earlier today, I was talking to the Brightspace people that are here, and I said, we're going to bring Team Break It to the table. We want to be part, our students have valuable input. They can help improve products or give you the student perspective of things. And then, as a team, when we first started talking about this, we were like, well, do we really have anything in common? But if you see this slide that I'm bringing up, no matter where you work in IT on our campus, you need to display competencies in customer service and problem solving and communication skills. All of the competencies on the left are the digital badges that they can earn from the Career Center that go on their LinkedIn profiles. These align with the NACE career competencies that NACE has published. And if you're not familiar with NACE, this is the National Accreditation for Career Education. So they have competencies, and what everybody on this team does is they help the students gain the competencies they need to earn the competencies that the Career Center is supporting. And there have been jobs from other SUNYs that I've seen posted that say, we're looking to hire. You need to understand ticket systems, remote support, that's BOMGAR. All of our students know how to use BOMGAR. You need to be able to communicate and chat. And what's so cool is the students, before they graduate, have the ability to apply for that job. So this team puts together a group of students that can graduate and literally get a level 2 position at a university that's hiring an instructional support technician. So I'm very grateful to this team for everything that they've done. I'm going to pause for a second to see if there are any questions from the audience. But I do want to thank everyone for your hard work. I know that there's a lot of dedication that goes behind the scenes to make this work. Everybody has shared how this has empowered them. We empower our students, but not only it empowers ourselves, right? Because we're willing to take risks. We try things out. Some things work, some things are epic fails, but we keep trying. And, we've always taught our students that when you involve people, they'll understand. And we used to have shirts that said, remember the shirts, Rose? It was the Confucius quote, right? Involve me and I'll understand. When I first walked into the computer lab, there was one sync site on campus. There were 15 of us. And we were told never touch the keyboard, because the minute you touch the keyboard and something goes wrong, it's your fault. So we used to sit on our hands like as a joke, like don't touch the keyboard, and teach people how to do things for themselves. And that's what everybody in this team has done. That's what we've empowered our students to do. And like I mentioned earlier, Stony Brook University has at some points in time have had more student employees than professional staff on our campus to support a campus. We have I think our FTEs are now 27,000 students. And I believe the last head count when I asked student employment the other day was 180 student employees. We, at one point, were the second largest employer on campus, and now I think we're the third. For those of you that are curious about funding, we are fully funded by the technology fee on our campus. That's how the students are funded. And it is always a pleasure to work with this team of people. So I'd like to thank Basil, Rose, Rich, Lorraine, and Tara for sharing your expertise with us. We'll stick around if people have questions, post them in the discussion boards, but I want to thank everybody for your attention. And we posted links to the presentation. I hope you saw those. I don't know if you need us to send them again. And I am sorry about the technical difficulties, but anyway. So thank you, everybody.
Rachel, just to answer your question from the chat, we also based a lot of our internship models off of the NACE career competencies. But feel free to follow up directly with Dana for more of the details on how we built out that curriculum.
If people can bear with me for 2 minutes, I'm going to see if I can share the Career Center site to show the competencies. Let me give it a try. I'm posting the link here in the chat. I'm going to try to share my screen one more time and see if I can get the share to work. Okay, I'm seeing the sharing in my preview. Does everybody see the sharing?
You have to publish it to the main stage.
I do that, or they do that? Because it looks like it's working on my end.
It's yep. It's
There
live.
you go.
You got it? Okay, cool. All right, so the Career Center tells students that they have power skills, and the skills that they want students to master are problem solving, communication, teamwork, digital technology, leadership, professionalism, career management, and global understandings. So at Stony Brook, we call them power skills. They're known as the NACE career competencies. That information is on this page. I did post a link in the chat. And what the students can do each semester is they can apply through the Career Center. And I think it's two. They can apply for 2 badges each semester that meet this criteria. And what they do is they have to submit evidence of learning. There's some activities for each one that they have to do, and they submit that, and that's how they earn it. So we have actually helped the Career Center develop Zoom Producer digital technology badges. We helped develop some of the Office badges that they award for Microsoft Office. And there's a few others that we work on when they ask us for assistance. But our students have, when I went through the curriculum with the Career Center, any student that works and do it as a student leader is eligible to earn at least 5 out of the 8 badges that you see here. The other thing students do is, like, for globalism and diversity, they can earn that as student leaders in different organizations on campus. So there's many opportunities on the campus and off for our students to earn competencies. And the ones that we focus on and do it are problem solving, communication, teamwork, digital technology, obviously, leadership, and professionalism, because we need them to show up to work on time, time management, and that's where professionalism is. So when they first start, those are the ones that we focus on, and then over time, they have the ability to add on as they would like to. So in this site, they call it the ACES program. This is Awarding Credentials for Experiences and Skills program. And this is where it explains the requirements for every reward or award that they can earn, what they have to do. And they have all of these badges that they've developed in Credly. The digital technology ones are in conjunction with Do It. But these others, like creative innovation, global competency, time management, Spanish. So they also work with faculty on our campus to develop badges in different areas of expertise. So here we have the Zoom Producer. Students have to demonstrate that they can help manage a Zoom room. This became very popular during COVID with graduate TAs, undergraduate TAs, and student events utilize this, but there's peer education. So it's a well thought out, well designed program. All badges were created by the Career Center with the help of our marketing and communications for Stony Brook. So it's true branding that's been applied to these. So it's been a major project, but we know that students benefit from this. So that's the leadership program that we've been talking about. So we have 9 minutes left. Any other questions?
Yeah, I haven't seen any new ones come in the discussion or the Q&A panel.
Okay, so if anybody has any other questions, you have my email address. We did post again the link to the slide deck. We have the information about the Career Center on there too. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to our presenters for being part of this panel. And I hope that we hear from everyone soon. An idea I do have is if people are interested in just getting together just to talk about student employment, we're happy to organize an event. We could do it on Zoom, right? Like we have Zoom now. So if any of you are interested and want to meet with the team and others to talk about student employees, what's happening on your campus. We used to do this a long time ago with CIT. There was a group of people that would get together. I haven't seen that group in a while. I don't think that they still exist, but we're happy to break out, birds of a feather, I guess, for lack of a better term, and share what we know, and perhaps even have opportunities for the students across SUNY to come together. Something that I would love to see in the future is to have, so students come back for summer, right? They go home. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if they could get a summer job at your IT and they have training already, like they have the expertise to help on your campus? For example, we have trouble finding students to work for the summer because it's expensive to live on campus and they're only allowed to work 29 hours. But it would be so neat if we found a student that usually works maybe in, I don't know, like Oneonta, but they're home for summer and then they can come work at Stony Brook because you need to have a summer class to work there. So I see ways that we could help each other and utilize students, and keep them employed all year round and have different experiences in different places. So if anyone's interested in something like that, and yes, I also do mean that, not to be selfish, that, the Stony Brook students, when they go home, let's just pretend that student goes home to Binghamton and Binghamton needs help, that there's an opportunity there for them to have summer employment at Binghamton. So that's partially where I also see this helping us all stay connected. So thank you, everybody, for your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Take care.